Next is Unit 3. Unit 3 first session. The contents of this session are introduction to Arduino board and getting started with Arduino, Arduino pin diagram, pin description. So first we will see what is Arduino. Arduino is an open source electronic platform based on easy to use hardware and software. It consists of a microcontroller board and an integrated development environment, that is IDE, used for writing, compiling and uploading the code onto the board. So this is an Arduino board. Next, key features of Arduino board. Features are microcontroller, Arduino IDE, open source, variety of boards, extensibility. These are the features of Arduino board. First one is microcontroller. So at the heart of every Arduino board is a microcontroller chip that serves as a brain of the board. So this is the main part of Arduino board. This microcontroller can be programmed to perform various tasks such as reading sensor data, controlling some of the motors, and if you want to communicate with other devices, microcontroller is used, which is a main part in Arduino board. Next is Arduino IDE. IDE is integrated development environment. Arduino board supports a user-friendly software development environment called as Arduino IDE. So this helps us to simplify the process of writing the code, uploading the code and managing the code for Arduino boards. So the IDE uses the basic C or C++ programming language that is easy for the beginners to learn. Next feature is open source. Arduino is an open source which means the hardware and software designs are freely available to the public through the documentation. So this open nature has led to vibrant community of developers, makers and educators who contribute to the expand upon this platform. You can use some of the projects using this Arduino platform. Next type of feature is variety of boards. There are several types of Arduino boards available, each with its own set of features and capabilities. Some of them among are Arduino UNO, Arduino Nano and Arduino Mega. Each board is designed for some specific use cases, specific applications ranging from simple and complex number of tasks. Next feature is extensibility. Arduino board can be expanded and customized using shields or modules. So shields here means these are called as add-ons to the board that provide additional functionalities, like you can connect Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS and motor controller to the board to extend the feature of Arduino board. This extensibility allows you to tailor your Arduino project to a specific need. For some specific application, you can develop the project using this Arduino board with the add-ons like extensibility. So these are the key features of Arduino. Next, Arduino hardware and pin diagram. So Arduino board features a variety of pins and you have headers that are crucial for interfacing with external components like sensors and circuitry. So this is an Arduino board. To this you can connect the sensors through the breadboard or you can directly also connect some of the sensors. So we will see what are the different parts in this Arduino board. So this is called as USB and crystal accelerator, voltage regulator. This is power button and here you have different pins, like you have digital pins and analog pins. Analog pins are from A0 to A5, A0, A1, A2, A3, A4. So these are called a set of analog pins and here you have one pin for the power supply and you have a ground pin. This is the voltage, 5 voltage powers. You also have 3.3 voltage power, which is required specifically for which type of sensor you can use that pin. And then you have reset button, AREF pin, and next you have TX, RX, receiver and transmitter, receiving the data and transmitting the data. These are the two pins. We call it as TX and RX LEDs, and these are all digital pins. You have different types of digital pins from 0 to 13 and last 14th one is a ground pin. So you can connect the digital input output using these pins. And you have a power LED, it is an inbuilt LED. You can also connect an extra LED to it, but this is an inbuilt LED indicator and IS ICSP pin, and this is 80 mega 328 microcontroller, which is a hard part or a brain of this total Arduino board. So each of this will be explained in the next slides. Like power USB, first one is power USB. Arduino board can be powered using this USB cable for your computer. All you need to do is to connect the USB cable to this USB connection. Next, power. Arduino board can be powered directly to AC main power supplies by connecting it to the jack. And next, voltage regulator. So the function of this voltage regulator is to control the voltage given by the Arduino board and to stabilize the DC voltages used by the processor and any other elements. Next one is crystal oscillator. The crystal oscillator helps Arduino in dealing with time issues. That means, how does Arduino calculate time? The answer here is by using this crystal oscillator. Then the number printed on top of the Arduino crystal is like this is a number which is a default. It tells us that frequency is from these hertz to this megahertz. So this is the display number which you can see on the oscillator. And then Arduino reset. Reset your Arduino board, that is restarting the Arduino board. Start your program from the beginning. Restart the Arduino board in two ways. First, by using reset button, which will be on the 17th pin, which you have seen in the previous slide. And second, you can connect an external reset button to the Arduino pin labeled reset. So this is the 5th pin, and reset button which is available is at 17th pin. Next, the pins which are used for 3.3 volts or 5 volts, you can also use ground connection to the pin or a V in. So 3.3 supply, 3.3 output voltage. In the same way, 5 volts, if you want to supply 5 volts as an output voltage. So most of the components used in Arduino board works fine with 3.3 or 5 volts. And the ground pin is pin number 8. So these are several ground pins on the Arduino board, any of which can be used to ground your circuit. Next, V in 9. This pin also can be used to power the Arduino board and any external power source like AC main power supply. So V pin is for power supply. Next, analog pins. Analog pins are through from A0 to A5. So the Arduino UNO board has 5 analog pins which are labeled like A0, A1 till A5. So these pins can read the signals in a form of analog signals. So analog sensors like humidity sensor or temperature sensor and convert it into the digital value that can be read by the microprocessor. So basically analog pins will read analog signals and it can be converted with the help of microprocessor. And main microcontroller. Each Arduino board has its own microcontroller. It is the brain of your board. The main IC, that is integrated circuit on the Arduino, is slightly different from board to board. So here the integrated circuit will be different, like Arduino UNO you will be having different cycle. Arduino 80 mega, different Arduino boards will have the different integrated circuitry. So the microcontrollers are usually of ATMEL company. Next is ICSP pin, which represents the 12th pin on the board, is an AVR or a tiny programming header for the Arduino consisting of MOSI, MISO, SCK reset, VCC and ground. These are different pins which you can use with ICSP pin, that is the 12th pin. Next, power LED indicator. So this is the inbuilt LED in the Arduino board. This LED should be light up when you plug your Arduino into a power source to indicate that your board is powered up. That means your board is ready to connect. If this light is indicated, if this light does not turn on, then there is something wrong with the connection. So the indication that the board is ready is with the power LED indicator. If it is on, that means the board is ready. If it is not turning on, then there is some problem in the board. Next, we have TX and RX LEDs. So first, at the digital pin 0 and 1 to indicate the pins responsible for serial communication. For the serial communication, you use these two pins, that is TX and RX LEDs. Second, the TX and RX LEDs which are at the 13th pin. So the TX LED flashes with different speeds while sending the serial data. The speed of flashing depends upon baud rate used by the board, and RX flashes during the receiving process. So RX means receiving, TX is transmitting the data. So basically these two LEDs we are going to use in the serial communication. If the project or the program whatever you are doing, if you want the serial communication, then we are going to use TX and RX pin, transmitter and receiver. Next is digital input output pins. So the Arduino UNO board has 14 digital pins, of which 6 we call it as PWM pins. So PWM means pulse width modulation output. So what is pulse width modulation outputs, you will see in the next sessions. These pins can be configured to work as input digital pins to read logical values, that is either 0 or 1 values, or as digital output pins to drive different modules like LEDs, that means LED you can connect, relays you can connect, or any of the motors. So the pin labeled by this symbol can be used to generate PWM. So this symbol represents that pins will generate PWM. Next, AREF. AREF stands for analog reference. So it is sometimes used to set the external reference voltage. If the voltage inbuilt is not sufficient, you can use external voltage between 0 to 5 volts as the upper limit of the analog input pin. So these are the different types of Arduino boards: Arduino Nano, Arduino Uno, Arduino Mega. Next is getting started with Arduino is the subtopic in your syllabus. In this topic we are just telling how to install the Arduino, installation and IDE. So the software with this URL you can install Arduino in your system. So these are the different steps how to install. So go through this slowly and install in your systems to do further program. These are all installation steps. So till here installation is been completed. Thank you.